Okay, in the course of this book, things happen.
Perfect.
There you go. Things happen, including one thing that is going to pull Honor out of that retirement that I told everybody she was going to have at the end of Uncompromising on it, but only for a little while.
Okay, so the time frame is...
The time frame is it starts actually before Honor has her conversation with Elizabeth and tells her she's retired.
Okay.
It starts really with the conversation that Michelle has after Damien Harahap arrives in Mesa. Okay, on the one hand, I mean that's really when the team comes together from the Grand Alliance's side, and then there's getting the Solarians on board and out there, and there are Masons who are being involved in this. Things will be discovered. Okay. And I don't want to get too involved because there would be significant spoilers involved if I discussed what the climax of the novel is.
Okay.
There is a post-Honor universe storyline here that may or may not ever get written because there's so much other stuff going on, in which her children will still be doing what I had anticipated they're doing in the universe where I expected to kill Honor off. They aren't fighting the Solarian League. That part of the story arc has already been resolved by their mom. Okay. But they are dealing with what would have been post-collapse of the Solarian League anyway.
Okay.
You know, kind of thing. Now, where the alignment is at that time is going to be significantly different from where I expect their starting position is going to be considerably different from the starting position that I had originally envisioned, because the war went a different way. The whole thing happened sooner than it was supposed to, and so events didn't have time to work out the way that they would have needed to work out. I think one of the things that a lot of writers of military fiction, especially military science fiction, don't allow for is evolution of technology, evolution of tactical and strategic concepts, and evolution of the environment, the political and economic environment in which the wars are set. That's one reason why R&D has been as critical as it has in a lot of my books. Okay, as the weapons mix changes, so do the tactics, so do the way that you can fight it. Richard Fox and I just recently turned in the first volume of what is currently planned as a prequel trilogy to In Fury Born, with the creation of the empire that Alicia is serving 300 years later in those books. And I had actually begun this series once before and got about 80,000 words into it and realized that it wasn't going to work because I had not made the technology 300 years cruder. Okay. This time around, the difference in the weapons mix and so forth is very, very much, it's there. Which means that battles have to be written in a totally different way, the whole 9 yards. But it was sort of an interesting experience because I've done a lot of evolving technology. But in this, and in the case of the Manticore Ascendant novels, you have to devolve the technology. And one reason why I wanted Tom and Tim involved in the Manticore Ascendant novels is because I wanted someone besides me doing the coming up conceptually with the differences in the tech. And Tom was so intimately familiar with how the original tech had evolved. And he had all of my notes and comments on what the original tech in the novels had evolved from on its way through, that he was able to go back and reconstruct a past which had never really existed except in terms of the trend lines that I had given him for how the technology evolved. And I think he did a better job of it than I would have done. And one of the tricks, I think, to being a successful author is to be a magpie. And anything that's shiny, you grab. Okay? You may not use it, but you have to be open to the notion of, I hadn't thought of that. But that's cool. Okay? You're going to do some of that internally. You're going to be working along, and a story is going to evolve in a way that you hadn't originally planned. And you're going to go like, wow. Man, I wish I had planned that from the beginning. That would have been so cool. And if I had, I could have done this different and that different. But it'll still work. Kind of.
I was going to say, do you still try to use it?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, okay, anybody who's ever been in a story conference with me knows all about the ooh shiny moments. Okay, I mean that's when I just stop and go, wait. I could do this and I could do that. And they're going, oh God, he's gone again, kind of thing. But that's the way that my brain works. On the one hand, I'm really, really structured about knowing where I want to go and everything. And on the other hand, everything is sort of wide open until I actually throw the paint at the canvas. I mean, and I think this is going to sound strange, but I think what it gives me is a structured spontaneity. Okay? Because I've got this matrix that it all has to fit into. But new stuff can suddenly find itself being fitted into the matrix. But about the best I can tell you is that the good Lord will, and the creek don't rise, and I live to be 130. There will be just as much Honorverse to come as there ever was. I'm kind of hopeful in a way that some of the folks that I'm doing collaborations with now could be able to continue some of the story arcs. I know that's heresy, in a lot of quarters, but it won't really be, and I understand that because there's always a change if somebody else takes over a series. Phil and I are looking at that in Mamelukes right now in Cornell's Trans series. We are not Phil's dad. And therefore, our storytelling voice, our techniques, our conventions are all going to be different from what he would have done. We can do our dead level best to maintain the flavor of a Jerry Pournelle novel, but we can't write a Jerry Pournelle novel. And if we try to, if we try to force ourselves into channeling Jerry, it's not going to work. Okay? It's not going to be us being spontaneous. It's not going to be us at our best. And I don't think Jerry would have wanted us to try and turn them into a pastiche of him. Okay. We have an absolute ironclad responsibility to treat his established characters with the respect that they and he deserve. And that means that Rick has to be who Rick was, and Tylara has to be who Tylara was. And if the characters continue to grow and change, they have to do so in a way that is consistent with how Jerry would have grown them or changed them. maybe different events that we come up with than he would have come up with. But we can't just turn them into different people because they're persisting and not doing what we wanted them to do. Okay? So we are probably going to move characters like Rick and Tylara back a step from being the sort of the cutting edge characters that we're writing about. Because that way we have characters who can grow and change all we need them to, that are actually in the trenches, while Rick, and my God, he deserves it, gets to step back a little bit and not actually be out leading desperate charges. And it's kind of like Honor getting too senior to go on death rides. Okay? She's still Honor, and I found things to keep her busy, you know, kind of thing. Well, with Rick, the things that will be keeping him busy will be such that we're not going to be continuing to hammer him with the stresses that Jerry hammered him with that evoke the kind of changes. You see what I'm saying? If you can find somebody who has that attitude, that approach to a series, I think even one as big and complex as the Honorverse, which I love the Tran books, and they're on a huge scale conceptually. But when you compare them to the existing Honorverse in terms of developed star systems and cultures and characters and everything else, there'd be a lot more room to shoot yourself in the foot in the Honorverse. More places you could do it. And so I think I would like to think that the storyline wouldn't necessarily go when I went, because it's been such a joy to me to write, and it has obviously meant a lot to a lot of readers.